Let's be real estate investing in 2025 looks a lot different than it did even a couple years ago. Short-term rentals have gotten harder to run profitability, long-term rentals are stable but don't produce much cash flow, and a lot of investors are sitting on the sidelines wondering what their next move should be. But there's an opportunity hiding in plain sight: midterm rentals. These are properties that are fully furnished, available for 30 days or more, and designed to house people who need temporary but comfortable living situations. We're talking traveling nurses on 13-week contracts, corporate professionals on temporary assignments, families displaced by insurance claims, and even people who are relocating and just need a landing pad before they buy their next home. And here's the thing, while everyone else is fighting over Airbnb bookings and stressing about regulations, investors running midterm rentals are quietly building steady, predictable, and profitable businesses. So today, I want to unpack why midterm rentals, or MTRs, are, in my opinion, the smarter passive income strategy in 2025. Today, we're going to cover why MTRs are booming right now, who actually rents these properties, how MTRs compare to STRs and LTRs, the pros and cons, real numbers so you can see what an MTR deal looks like, and finally, how to set one up so you're not just throwing money at a property and hoping it works. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why MTRs are winning right now, but you'll have the framework to start building one yourself. Imagine this: you own a fully furnished property in a solid neighborhood. Instead of random strangers checking in every 3 nights, dragging luggage, leaving reviews about the pillows, and sometimes throwing parties, you've got one professional tenant staying for 2 or 3 months. They pay on time, they're quiet, they're there for work or family reasons, not to party. They treat the property like home because for them, it is home, at least for that stretch of time. No endless cleaning schedules, no guest emergencies at midnight, no city inspectors knocking on your door because your Airbnb is now under review. That is the midterm rental model. And here's why you need to pay attention. If you're feeling like STRs are oversaturated, if regulations have stressed you out, or if long-term rentals just don't produce enough to make your investment worth it, MTRs might be the strategy that gives you the balance you've been looking for. So why are MTRs blowing up right now? First, regulations. Not sugarcoating this, cities all across the US are tightening short-term rental laws. Here in Arizona, it's a constant tug of war between investors, neighbors, and city councils. Some HOAs don't allow STRs at all. Some cities have capped or lottery system, and even where they are allowed, you can wake up one day and find a new ordinance that completely changes your cash flow model. With midterm rentals, you sidestep almost all that. By offering 30+ day stays, you're legally in long-term territory. You're not a hotel, you're not considered transient housing, and you fall under landlord-tenant laws instead of STR regulations. It's predictable, it's consistent, and it gives you way more peace of mind. Secondly, demand. This is where it gets exciting. There are more traveling professionals today than ever before. The healthcare industry alone employs hundreds of thousands of traveling nurses across the US every year. Each one of them needs furnished housing near hospitals for 8 to 13 weeks at a time. Then you've got the corporate side: tech workers, consultants, engineers. Companies are constantly sending people to other cities for projects, training, or temporary roles. These people don't want to live in hotels for months, and companies don't want to pay hotel rates. And insurance placements, families whose homes are damaged and need a rental while repairs are done, and relocations, people moving between cities who haven't bought yet. And finally, the growing population of digital nomads who prefer to stay somewhere for 1 to 3 months before moving on. That's 5 different demand sources. STRs have 1, tourist. Third, profitability compared to effort. Now, here's what I mean by this. Yes, with STRs, you can gross higher on a nightly basis, but you're also dealing with constant turnover, higher cleaning costs, and daily commutation. With LTRs, you get stable rent, but it's capped. You might bring in $2,000 a month on a $400,000 property, and that's it. With MTRs, you hit the middle ground. You're charging more than a long-term lease, but you're not running a hotel. Turnovers might happen every 2 to 3 months instead of every 3 days. Your tenants are often professionals or families, so they take better care of the home, and the operation side is way easier to manage. That's why in 2025, MTRs are in their sweet spot: less regulations, more demand, and smoother management processes. So let's dig deeper, because this is where people usually ask, okay, but who really rents these places? Number 1, traveling nurses and medical professionals. Picture this. A nurse named Sarah gets assigned to Phoenix for a 13-week contract at Banner Health. She doesn't know anyone here, she doesn't want to stay in a hotel, and she needs something close to work that feels like home. She's got a housing stipend, maybe $3,000 a month, and she's happy to pay for a clean, fully furnished place where she can relax after long shifts. This isn't just one person. Thousands of nurses across the country are in Sarah's exact position every single day. Next, we have corporate professionals on assignment. Think about someone like Alex, a software engineer sent to Phoenix for a 3-month project. His company doesn't want him bouncing around hotels, and they are willing to pay $3,500 a month for a comfortable furnished rental where he can work, cook, and actually live. These tenants often have company budgets behind them, so payments are reliable and expectations are clear. Next, we have insurance placements. Imagine the Johnson family. Their house had a fire, and now it's being repaired. Insurance has to place them somewhere, and hotels are not realistic for months at a time. A furnished 3-bedroom midterm rental is a perfect solution. The insurance company cuts the check, and the family gets stability during a very stressful time. Now, next we have families in transition. This could be someone who just sold a home and hasn't closed on their next one, or someone relocating from another state who needs a place while they shop for a house, or even families renovating their home who need to live somewhere else for a few months. And finally, digital nomads. These are remote workers who hop around cities but don't want a hassle of moving every week. They want to settle into one spot for a few months, really experience the area, and then move on. The key takeaway here is MTR demand isn't just one niche. It's multiple groups all willing to pay for furnished housing, and that's what makes it resilient. So let's talk about STR versus LTR versus MTR, the big comparison. Let's stack them side by side because this is where investors really get clarity. So let's first talk about short-term rentals. Average nightly rates might look amazing, $150, $200, $300 a night, depending on the property. But if you don't have 70 to 80% occupancy, those numbers collapse fast. Expenses are high, constant cleaning, toiletries, amenities, repairs, utilities, and regulations can change overnight. Now, let's talk about long-term rentals. Stability is great. One tenant, one lease, steady income. But rent is capped. If the market says $2,000 a month, that's it. You can't just bump rents mid-lease, and your cash flow is limited. So this brings us to midterm rentals. Rents often land somewhere between STR and LTR. So let me give you an example. That same $400,000 property that would rent for $2,000 as an LTR could rent for $3,200 to $3,800 furnished as an MTR. Expenses are higher than LTR, utilities, furniture, but less than STR. Occupancy is easier to maintain with the right tenant pool. So let me give you a real example. Property A in Phoenix, $400,000 purchase price. As an LTR, rents for $2,000 a month, maybe net you $500 after expenses. As an STR, could gross $4,500 to $6,000 a month, but after cleaning, turnovers, platform fees, and management, nets maybe $1,500 to $2,000. As an MTR, rents for $3,500 after utilities and small turnover costs, nets around $1,000 to $1,200. But ask yourself, do you want more stability or more chaos? STRs can net more, but are volatile. LTRs are stable, but low cash flow. MTRs sit right in the middle, giving profitable but manageable strategy. Now, let's break it down even further. Say you buy a 3-bedroom in Chandler for $450,000. Long-term rent, $2,200 a month. STR potential, $5,000 gross, $2,000 net after expenses. MTR, $3,500 furnished rent, utilities rent $300, internet another $80, net is $3,120. That's nearly $1,000 more than long-term rent. Now, let's say you furnish it. Budget $12,000 for furniture, beds, couches, kitchenware, desk, linens, everything. Now, if you're netting $1,000 more per month than a long-term rental, you've made your furniture investment back in 1 year. After that, it's just cash flow. Now, imagine scaling that to 3 or 4 properties. That's $3,000 to $4,000 a month extra with far less hassle than STRs. That's why MTRs are catching investors' attention. So let's talk about how to set up a successful MTR. Here's what investors get tripped up. They get tripped up on this setup. So step 1, location. Look near hospitals, business centers, or freeway access. Think about where professionals need to be. Step 2, furnish for comfort, not luxury. Don't overspend. Focus on good mattresses, blackout curtains, solid Wi-Fi, and functional workspaces. Those matter way more than designer chairs. Step 3, all-inclusive pricing. Tenants expect utilities, internet, and furnishings included. Build those costs into your rent. Step 4, market on the right platform. Furnished Finders is huge for traveling nurses. Airbnb works great if you set a 30-day minimum. VRBO, Zillow, even Facebook Marketplace can bring leads. And step 5, streamline management. Use digital leases, install smart locks, have a cleaner and handyman lined up for turnovers. Treat it like a business from day one. And don't forget, photos matter. Just like STRs, presentation sells. Make sure your place looks clean, modern, and inviting. So why is 2025 the year for MTRs? Why now? Because the STR market is oversaturated. Too many Airbnbs chasing the same tourist. Cities are cracking down, profit margins are shrinking. Meanwhile, midterm demand is rising. Healthcare staffing shortages are not going away. Companies are still moving people. Families will always need transitional housing, and insurance claims aren't slowing down. And here's the kicker. Most investors haven't caught on yet. That means less competition, higher rents, and first mover advantage. So let's tie it all together. If you want stability without sacrificing cash flow, if you want to invest without worrying about regulations changing overnight, and if you want to attract quality tenants instead of high turnover strangers, midterm rentals are your answer. They're not a backup plan if STRs don't work. They're a smarter, scalable strategy that combines the best parts of STRs and LTRs. And if you get in now, you'll be ahead of the curve while everyone else is still fighting for the Airbnb bookings. So if you're ready to explore midterm rentals here in Phoenix, whether that's buying your first property or converting an existing one, send me a text. My phone number is in the description. I help investors every day set up and manage profitable MTRs, and I'd love to help you too. Hit subscribe so you don't miss my next deep dive on analyzing MTRs deals step by step. That's coming next, and you don't want to miss it.